is just kind of some of the questions that you guys have asked me throughout the day. And I want to make sure I answer them on the video, so when you're at home, you can always rewind them and go back to some of the stuff that you didn't understand in class. So number 1 reads, a scale drawing of a billboard uses a scale 4 centimeters and 9 feet. Here I want you to always, whenever it gives you a scale, I want you to write it down. So scale factor is 4 centimeters for every 9 feet. Okay? Then it says, the length of the billboard on drawing is 11 centimeters. So I'm going to be dealing with 2 different figures. One of them is a drawing and the other one is the actual billboard. So if I kind of just draw a triangle, this can represent my drawing. And if I draw a bigger rectangle, that could represent your billboard. Okay, and if it helps you, go ahead and label them. Okay. Now it says that the length of the billboard is 11 centimeters. Okay, so I'm going to write right here 11 centimeters. And it wants to know how long would the length of the billboard be given that the drawing is 11 centimeters using this scale factor. Okay, so there's several different ways you can do this, and up to this point I've taught you how to do it using a table. So I'm gonna go ahead and set it up using a table real quick, just so that you can get an idea. So here's my table. Doesn't have to be perfectly straight, just to give you a good way or a good place to organize your information. So the units that I'm talking about is centimeters, and I'm talking about feet. Okay, and if I kind of reference back to my and this is 4. Okay, if I would reference back to my scale factor, for every 4 centimeters, how many feet should I have? If for every 4, I should have how many feet? 9. Okay. What about when I have 8 centimeters? How many feet should I have? 18. And then for 12 centimeters, I should have 27 feet. And so on and so forth. And you just complete the table. Now, it doesn't matter how far the table goes, as long as you understand that there's a pattern going on. Okay? So here, if I add 9 more, it gives me 36. Here, it's going to give me 20. And down here, it should give me what? 45? Okay. And I'll stop there. And if I have to, I can fill out more information. So what this is saying, ladies and gentlemen, is that if the length on my drawing is 11 centimeters, all I got to do is refer back to this. So if I had 11 centimeters, how many feet should I have? More or less how many? More or less 27. You see that? Now I know that my dimensions here have to be in feet, but it doesn't give me exactly what I'm looking for. Some situations you can do it right off the table without doing any multiplication. Other situations, I'm going to show you how to do it a different way. And this is exactly why I'm working out the quiz for you guys. Is I want you to understand it 2 different ways, but see how they're connected. So I'm going to take the dimension that I'm missing, because I need this one right here. And I have 11 centimeters. And I also have a scale factor. Okay? And my scale factor is 4 over 9. Okay? And I'm going to go ahead and multiply this using my scale factor, but I'm going to flip it around. And let me show you why we want to flip it around. Because at the end of the product, or at the end of the answer, I want to end up with my answer being what? In what unit? My answer needs to be in feet. So I know that my answer needs to be in feet. So when I actually multiply this, it's going to be centimeter times feet, and then centimeter down here on the bottom. And my centimeters are going to cancel out. And it's kind of like when you think about, what's the answer when you have 2 over 2 or 3 over 3? Your answer always equals to 1, right? In this case, when you have centimeter over centimeter, that is equal to 1 as well. So it doesn't disappear, but you don't have to write it in there anymore. Okay? So if I'm going to multiply these, forgot the multiplication symbol. If I'm going to multiply these, what do I do to the 11 so that I'm able to multiply 2 different fractions? Put a 1 under it. And now I have 2 fractions, although one's improper. My units will cancel out, and it'll leave me with the 1 that I want to end up with over here. Okay? It'll leave me with my answer being feet. So when I actually do the multiplication, I should have 11 times 9.
99.
99. 1 times 4? 4. So I'm going to work on it over here on the side. 4 divided by 99. You guys can work on this at home as well. 4 goes into 9 2 times. That gives me 8. Bring down my 9. 4 goes into 19 4 times. That gives me 16. Remainder 3. Add a decimal point. Add a 0. Bring this down. And it goes in 7 times. So I'm going to stop there. And this says that my answer should be around 24.7 feet. And if I trace back to my original table, you'll see that for 11 centimeters, which lands them out right here, it should be less than 27 feet, right? So my answer makes sense to what my original table had said. This is a more accurate way to find your answer, where this is your scale factor. Okay? But it's kind of flipped around so that my units cancel each other out. And I end up with feet as my answer. Okay? So that just gives me this dimension. If I needed to find this other dimension, then I would repeat the process. But in this case, that would answer my question for problem number 1. How long is the actual billboard? And my answer is 24.7 feet. Okay? Go ahead and watch the other videos in case something about this one was unclear. Okay, so I'm going to be working out problem number 2 on your daily quiz. Again, this one involves scale drawing or scale factors. So number 2 reads, a scale drawing of a dance floor is shown. What is the area of the actual dance floor? And kind of tracing back to what we've been doing with scale factors, we're going to be drawing two different figures, and we're also going to be drawing a table. Okay, so let's start by setting up the problem even before we start doing any calculation. So the first 2 things you want to have is your 2 figures. Okay, so if you're talking about a dance floor, obviously I can draw myself 2 rectangles. I'm going to make this one a little bit bigger. Okay, and a thing to remember is that more often than not, I'm going to be comparing 2 different units. Okay, so on the actual sketch of the quiz, it has the dance floor drawing as 14 centimeters over 22 centimeters. Okay, and I'm going to just label this so that I know exactly which one represents what. And this one is my dance floor. And then it's asking me to use a scale factor. So my scale factor, if you look at the bottom of the problem, is 5 centimeters for every how many feet? 8 feet. Okay. So I know that my dance floor is going to be in feet because that's what it uses over here. So my dance floor, my answer should be in feet. Again, going back to what we've been doing in the other problems, you can set up a table, okay? And my table is going to look like this. So some of you guys are already getting pretty good at this, so you can get ahead of yourself. Okay, and my units are centimeters and also feet. Okay, now always refer back to your scale factor. Okay, the scale factor says for every 5 centimeters there's 8 feet. So when I have 5 centimeters, I should have 8 feet. Simple as that, right? So then I just complete my table. When I have 10 centimeters, I should have 16 feet. When I have 15 centimeters, I should have 24, so on and so forth. Okay. Now, I don't know if, I kind of just reminded me, but I don't know if you realize this or if you kind of understand the way that this is working. If you kind of look at these as fractions, look, if you look at that as a fraction, that is equivalent to that as a fraction. Like if we were to simplify 10 over 16, or if you were to simplify 20 over 32, it would simplify all the way back to 5 over 8 or 5/8. So these are all equivalent or proportional fractions. Okay, I don't know if any of you have noticed that. Okay, but again, going back to scale factor, this will let me know for every so many centimeters, I should have that many feet. So when I have 14 centimeters, my answer is going to be around right here. So I should have a little bit less than how many feet? 24. And up here, if I have 22 centimeters, my answer should be a little bit over 32. So it's not going to give me the exact answer, but it will give me an estimate of where my answer should end up. Okay, so I'm going to continue this problem, and that way you have an idea of where the answer should be or have a reference point. Okay, so let me continue. So I have a dimension that is 14 centimeters, and I need to figure out how much feet that is. Okay, so I know that I'm going to turn 14 centimeters using my scale factor, and it's going to give me my answer in feet. Okay, so that should be the original setup. And all you got to do is flip the scale factor around. So that my answer ends up in feet. Okay, notice how centimeters, again, centimeters over centimeters is going to equal to 1 or cancel each other out. So that kind of leaves away. Okay, and if I'm going to multiply a whole number times a fraction, I need to put this over 1. Okay, so again, this is going to help you set up your answer for here. Okay, and in this case, 14 times 8, let me do it on the side, is 4 times 8 is 32. 8 times 1 is that 112, right? Yeah, 112 divided by 5. 1 times 5 is 5. Okay, and this answer is gonna go here. Now that's only gonna give me the dimension. I still gotta figure out this dimension so that I have my length and my width. Now if you look closely to the problem, it's asking you for the area of the figure. So just because you found the dimensions, that does not give you the answer. You still have to calculate the area. Okay, and area equals length times width. So after you figure out these two dimensions, you can refer back to this formula, and that'll help you finish solving the problem. Okay, so go ahead and finish that, and if you have any questions, watch the other video.